Hey guys, and welcome to Simple About Games channel. And today I'm going to tell you about a really awesome rare champion, about Coffin Smasher. Actually, it's some kind of continuation of series of videos about rare champions I did recently. Maybe you already seen my video about Bulwark, the only rare debuff extender, and actually it has plenty of views, so if you haven't checked the video, please follow the link you see on your screen. Okay, but now it's time to talk about Coffin Smasher. Is he good enough? Can he replace some epics or maybe legendary champions? I will try to answer those questions in this video. Please stay tuned. Okay guys, let's move on. And the champion I'm going to tell you about, the Coffin Smasher, he's part of Night Revenant faction, and there is something special, in my opinion of course, about this faction. Most champion here looks both really good and frightening, even maybe disgusting at the same moment. And he is not an exclusion. Just look at this guy. He has some kind of tumor on his shoulder. He has that acidic capsule on his belt. He has those hammers actually to smash the coffins. It looks like that. And there is one thing which bugs me and I cannot pass without telling about it. He looks exactly as Bane from Batman, in my opinion. Not that Bane from the most recent movies, but that Bane from the elder movies we seen back in 90s of 20th century. And just look at him. I can bet if you Google for the photo of Bane, you'll see someone who is kind of similar to this guy we are talking about today. Now it's time to tell a couple of words about his base stats. Guys, in my opinion, he has them on really decent level. Just check his HP, 21k. It's more than most of the epic or even legendary champions have. And actually it means that he's gonna scale really good out of the gear with percentage of HP modifier. The defense level he has is not as good as his HP level, but is also decent. After all, he's an HP-based champion, and we should remember that HP-based champions don't have as much defense, for example, as defense-based champions. It's a general rule. There are multiple exclusions from this rule, but I think it still works. I can easily name at least a couple of champions, rare champions of course, which have more defense than him. It's Frozen Banshee. Actually, I also did a review about her, and this champion is extremely good. You should check it out. And another one which has more defense, it's Bulwark. And I think even Kyle has kind of the same. I think he even has exactly the same amount of defense. But it still works. You can build him quite tanky. And this is really important for clan boss. In my opinion, the only bad thing we can say about his base stats is his speed. 92 is really low, and you will have to deal somehow with it. From my experience, the best option is to have at least 2 items from the speed set. Now it's time to look at his kit, and before we start I should remind you that he is an HP based champion. That means that his attacks scale out of his HP instead of attack or defense. Not that many champions in game do the same, and some of them actually hit extremely hard. Just think about Sir Nicholas. But he is not that kind of a champion, and from my experience his multipliers are not that good. You should take that in consideration when building him. It's time to take a look at his kit. His first skill is a 3-hit attack. Each hit has a chance of placing decrease attack debuff, one of the most important clan boss debuffs in the game. And actually this makes the champion very special, because he is one of the most consistent rare champions with this debuff. His second skill is a one-time attack, which has 50% chance, actually up to 75% chance if booked, of placing HP burn debuff. And from my experience, this ability which makes him a good damager, because his multipliers, as I said before, not that high, but keeping HP burn as much as possible makes his damage really good. Actually, there is one more champion I've already did a review about, which does the same. It's Dragster Blood Twin, the legendary. His multipliers also not that high, but the fact that he has HP burn makes him really decent damager. and his passive is the cherry on the top of the pie. Let's look through it. It decreases the damage enemies inflict with AoE attacks by 5%. Okay, let's guess. Which enemy strikes really hard with AoE attacks? Yes, the correct answer is Clan Boss. You might ask me, why are you talking about 5% damage decrease making difference? But the answer to this question is the nature of Clan Boss itself. Each round he hits harder and harder, and on the later rounds he hits extremely hard. So even 5% decrease damage makes your team survive a bit longer, and surviving a bit longer is the key to showing good result at the end of the fight. Okay guys, now I'm going to show you the items I have on him. As you can see, it's really nothing special, just 4 items from the lifesteal and 2 items from the speed set. There is a specific reason why I use exactly this combination, because it's really hard to replace the lifesteal. I don't have the specific champions needed for it, and I need speed set, the boots and the chest, to deal with his lower base speed, as I already told you. Okay, now I'm going to show you his total stats, and as you can see, he has some good levels of health and defense. His health is 42.5k and his defense is 2.9k. This is enough not only for Nightmare, but also good enough for Ultra Nightmare setup. His speed is 178, and I use him at this speed for a reason. He is a part of speed-tuned combination of champions I use on Nightmare and Ultra Nightmare, and I want him to be exactly at this level of speed. His accuracy is high enough. The reason is really simple. I want him to land his decrease attack debuff consistently, so I prefer my champions I use on Ultra Nightmare to be at least at the level of 220, 130 plus better. It is time to talk about the Masteries, guys. Okay, let's check them. I have a combination of offense and support trees on him, and actually the build I have is pretty standard. I went for the Giant Slayer because he has 3 hits on his A1, and I went down to the Master Hexer and Sniper to increase the chance of placing the debuff and to have a chance to prolong the debuff for 1 additional turn. Of course, if you don't rely on him as a decrease attack debuffer, you can go for the defense tree, and actually even if you rely, you might try defense tree for the additional survivability, but I think that combination of offense and support is gonna be better for him. As usual, links to the build variations you can use on him you will find below the video. Okay guys, I think that I gave you enough details about his gear, masteries and skills, and now it's time to see him in action. From my point of view, the best use of him is Clan Boss, because of his kit of course, but taking in consideration the fact that he has a 3-hit attack on his A1, it is also possible to use him in some dungeons, for example Fire Knight. Guys, I will start with the Clan Boss, and you will see him against the Ultra Nightmare Clan Boss as a part of my main Clan Boss team. This is a really good team, I think. It uses 2 counterattack champions, Steel Skull and Razin, and I'm going to test Coffin Smasher in place of Alten. It's gonna make the challenge even more interesting, because Alten is a well-known Clan Boss beast, because he brings so much utility into your team. He has both defense up on a really low cooldown of 3 turns and decrease attack on his A1 with really high percentage chance to apply it, so it's gonna be an interesting challenge. As you guys might have already noticed, he is not the hardest hitting champion, and his main strength is not his damage. His main strengths are his debuffs. For example, the decrease attack debuff he has on his A1 is essential for the whole team to survive, and we want this debuff to be on the boss 100% of time. He is not the most consistent decrease attack champion, and I have martyr in this setup to help him in the moments when he fails to fulfill this role. But from my point of view, he is quite good. For a rare champion, he is excellent. And second debuff he has is HP burn, which is also good. Actually, the main portion of his damage is from this debuff. And in case you have debuff extender in your team, it might work even better, because the uptime of both debuffs will be higher. So guys, as you can see at the end of the video, the damage he dealt is quite competitive, even compared with the champions which are much more suited for the clan boss. I should say that the team with Coffin Smasher did about 29 million of damage, and my best result with the team you've seen in this fight is 33 million damage with Elton in place of Coffin Smasher. Of course, he won't be able to replace him, but at least he can be a competitive rare champion. So guys, now it's time to move forward, and I'm going to tell you about Fire Knight. From my point of view, he is not the best champion to deal with this dungeon, but in case you don't have anyone else, he might be used. First of all, I have to say that Coffin Smasher is magic affinity and Fire Knight is force affinity, so he's gonna have affinity weakness, and most of his hits won't be as good as it might be with other champions. But his main role, and the reason why we bring him to the encounter, is his ability to hit a triple on his A1, so he will help breaking the shield the boss has. As you will see by the end of the fight, the damage he dealt is really low. He was the lowest in the team, but he helped to break the shield and the team actually beat the encounter. So if you need him solely for this purpose, he might work. In conclusion, I should say that I really like the champion. He is extremely good for a rare, and if you have him, it might be a good idea to build him for your clan boss team. He is not the replacement for the top tier legendaries, and to be honest, we don't expect him to be, but if we are talking about the rares, he is one of the best. Guys, if you liked the video, please subscribe to my channel, hit the bell to receive notifications about my new videos, and as usual, see you soon in one of the next videos. Bye bye!